It has everything: Ipanema, Copacabana, Carnival, and the Samba. And if that wasn't enough, this year it's hosting the biggest sports event on the planet. And all eyes are on Brazil. Washington Full Circle starts right now. And welcome to Washington Full Circle. I'm Furman Patterson. The race is on as one of the largest democracies in the world prepares to showcase its people, its culture, and of course, its famous beaches, all at the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio. To tell us all about it is our special guest today, Brazilian Ambassador to the U.S., Ambassador Machado. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Now, vying to host the Olympics is a big deal. It started years ago, but what did you feel when you were awarded that honor?
It was fantastic. You know, Rio is my hometown, so I felt totally excited about the possibility of finally having the Olympic Games and the Paralympics.
Yes.
In my hometown, and I think the whole country is extremely happy with that.
Now, how early does things get started once you know that you're going to host the Olympics, to start the construction and all the projects?
Yeah, you have to start. You had a plan, right? Mm-hmm. And based on that plan, you start the bidding and all you have to do in order to start building the actual venues.
Right. And that's the building. I understand that one of the big things for you and for the Olympics is sustainability.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that. How is that figure in the building?
Well, in our case, we want, as all towns want when they host the Olympics, we want a legacy for the town. And that's our case. Mm-hmm. Many of the venues will be transformed later in buildings that will be useful for the community. For instance, schools. Mm-hmm. And of course, everything will be based on the highest possible standards in terms of sustainability and in terms of using renewable sources of energy.
Right. Now, was this a prerequisite for the Olympics Committee looking at different countries? You had to have that in mind?
We have to have that in mind because I think this is a plus. If you have a strong proposal mm-hmm. that incorporates all the modern sustainability concerns, I think you have a very good shot at it.
Now, give us an idea of what's involved. People think preparing for the Olympics is building a couple of stadiums, but there's much more than that. No. It's entire infrastructure.
Yes, you name it. infrastructure, in terms of roads, in terms of transportation, in terms of adequate facilities like hospitals, like different areas. Athletes need different things. They have things that at first sight we don't think about. Mm-hmm. So it's a long planning. It's a long planning and definitely a lot of work.
And I know some things are still in progress, preparing for the Olympics, but which project or which feature do you like most so far?
Oh, everything. We are almost ready. I mean, in terms of the buildings, they have done already several events, testing events in the venues. So, no, I am really happy about everything.
Now, where do the events occur? We know it's in Rio, but what areas?
Different areas of the city. The Guanabara Bay will host the sailing events. The Rodrigo de Freitas Lagoon will have the rowing, and Barra da Tijuca, a number of events. Of course, you have the stadium, the big stadium, Maracanã, which will be with another one, Engenhão, big centers for not only soccer, but all events.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we've got a lot to talk about this
Absolutely.
Olympics, but stay with us. More on Brazil and the global attention of the 2016 Olympics in Rio. Washington Full Circle will be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Washington Full Circle. In hosting the 2016 Summer Olympics, all eyes are on Brazil as it prepares to welcome hundreds of thousands of visitors to the world's most coveted sporting event. Now, I've been to Brazil, to Rio, a couple of times, and it is the perfect backdrop for the Summer Olympics. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Thank you.
But you've also hosted several other events over the years, soccer and the Pope.
Oh yes, definitely. We have a certain history in terms of hosting big events. You mentioned the World Cup in 2014. It was not only in Rio, but in 12 different cities. And we had the big conferences like Rio 92, which was the biggest sustainability conference. And we had again Rio Plus 20 in 2012. Of course, we have learned a lot in terms of preparation, and we are doing exactly what we have learned. We have cooperation with other countries that have also hosted important events. So we are taking things very seriously.
Yeah, I was about to say the World Cup was probably like a trial run for the big Olympics.
Yes.
Now, personally, what sport are you most interested in? What competition in the Olympics are you most interested in?
I love soccer, of course, being a Brazilian, but also volleyball. I love to see basketball. Team efforts, I like team efforts, but that's not to say that I don't follow other individual sports. It is beautiful to see. I am a big fan of sports, so I root for every sport.
Very diplomatically.
Basically.
Now, just between you, you and me, How many medals do you predict Brazil will take
Well,
home?
it's very difficult to say, but of course I will be again rooting for the largest possible number. The Olympics, it is true, it's about winning medals, but it's much more than that. It's about winning, and winning means doing your best. Every single athlete that goes to the games, they are winners because they have to do a lot of work. They have to prepare for a long time, and they have to break barriers in order to be there and to try.
Right. So, talking about the work the athletes will do, the work that you have to do here in the U.S. and here in Washington in preparation for the Olympics, are there a number of things that you've been busy with?
Yeah, definitely. We are doing a number of events in the countdown to the Olympics. You will probably see some of them in the next months, because I think it is very important. It's a big opportunity for my country and for my hometown, as I said. This event, it is a major global event. The eyes of the world will be literally focused on Rio. So we are doing our best at the embassy to promote the Olympics, and with that to promote Rio and Brazil, not only Rio, because we want people to go to the Olympics, yes, but not only to go to Rio,
Yes.
to visit the beautiful diversity of the country.
Now, in Washington, we also know that there's a special relationship, the Sister City Agreement
Yes.
between Washington, D.C. and Brasilia. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That dates back to 2013, I think. And they are actually similar cities, because both are the capitals of big countries. Both cities were planned cities. Brasilia is much younger. It dates back to 1960. And it is a very modern town with key examples of modern Brazilian architecture. It's a very interesting place, although it is an administrative city, like DC,
Right.
but with its own life, like DC.
Right.
too.
The Sister City Agreement also, I understand, helps in a way of sharing cultures and education, and I know there are a number of things that have occurred with this relationship. Tell us why the educational partnership is so important.
Well, definitely, it is fundamental. Well, education is about the future. It's about preparing the youth to take our place
Right.
later on, and definitely exposing students from different countries to new cultures, new languages, new customs. It is an eye-opening experience, and that's fundamental for the growing up of a citizen.
Right.
Is to understand the world around he or she.
Excellent. We're going to talk about music when we return in Culture. Stay with us for more on Brazil's big year when Washington Full Circle returns. And welcome back to Washington Full Circle. Now, a special guest, the Brazilian ambassador to the U.S. Now, we talked about education, but it's also the sharing of cultures. For those young people that may not be aware of Brazil's influence in music and dance, promote it for us.
Okay, well, well that's a huge task. As you know, since you've been to Brazil, you know well that it is a multi-ethnic country, very much like the U.S. And the influence of different ethnic backgrounds made a huge impact in our music. We have, well, samba is the most famous of the Brazilian rhythms, but we also have other manifestations that that have to do with the influence of the African influence, the Portuguese influence, and the native influence. So this mix gave birth to a very vibrant output. And one of the known rhythms in the U.S., for instance, is bossa nova,
Right.
which is sometimes heard in jazz clubs because it has similarities, although it's a deeply ingrained national rhythm, and that's important to understand. As you have in the U.S. a huge variety of musical manifestations due to your diversity. We also have that. Yeah. And you will go there and hear different things and different songs, and it is really very rich.
Now, one of the things that people get a chance to hear these fantastic sounds in Brazil is at Carnival.
Yeah.
Which is a huge undertaking. I think that's what people have seen most is the fantastic festivals. Tell us about Carnival in Brazil.
Well, Carnival is, of course, the whole country. You will go to different areas of the country and see different ways of celebrating Carnival. Probably the best known is in Rio, where you have the so-called samba schools, which are big groups of samba players and dancers, and they have the samba parade during the several days of a carnival,
which is hugely colorful,
It's actually a contest among the several samba schools,
yeah,
and very hard fought, and it's something unique. You have to see to understand. It's a very unique thing. But you have, as I said, in the whole country, different manifestations of a carnival with people on the streets and singing and dancing for many days.
That's what I like. Now, with all of the visitors coming to Brazil for the Olympics, you know, in the news lately, the Zika threat. What is the country doing to make sure that tourists are comfortable and secure coming in?
We are doing a lot. Because, of course, we are concerned, not only because of the Olympics, but because of the health
Certainly.
Of our population. And very recently, this weekend, our armed forces, 220,000 troops, went across the country, house to house, trying to educate people about the risks, how to combat the mosquito, and doing things to avoid the proliferation of the mosquito. We are doing a lot in terms of research. President Dilma Rousseff called President Obama on the 29th of January, and they talked about ways for the two countries to work together in combating this outbreak. And some of our best institutions from both countries are already working together, trying to find vaccines, trying to find new therapies, and trying to understand more. There are things that scientists don't understand right now fully. So we are doing a lot of research, and be sure that we are taking this very seriously, because it is not only a Brazilian problem, of course. It's a global thing that is outbreaking in many countries, and the World Health Organization declared it a global problem. So we are acting, we are doing our part.
Well, definitely the world is watching and probably feels much better hearing that this is underway. But thank you so much for stopping by, Ambassador, and good luck with the 2016 Olympics.
Thank you very much. Go there.
All right. Well, that's it for Washington Full Circle. Thanks to our guest, and thanks to you for watching. We'll see you again next time.